your life.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. I am Justin.
And I am Mitch.
And today is episode 3
of season 2.
And who are we doing?
The consistently inconsistent Hawkman.
He got so bad they just said, no, you just stop writing it altogether. No, who was it, Grant Morrison? He wanted to write it, and they're like, no, you just can't.
No.
And it's like, if he gets told no, there's some problems.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's deal with some of this controversy.
Alright, well, okay, so let's start off with...
Who's Hawkman?
That is not an easy answer.
Alright, why don't you lead us then with our best way of introing the character?
So let's start from the beginning.
It's usually a good spot.
Yeah. So Hawkman, his first appearance was in Flash Comics issue number 1 in 1940. He was kind of like a side story in Flash Comics. So originally, Hawkman was Carter Hall, a archaeologist who finds out that he is the reincarnation of a ancient Egypt pharaoh named... I wrote down his name. Apparently I didn't write his name down. Anyways.
Ancient Egyptian pharaoh.
Yes.
Got it.
Alright. So, he, in this crypt that he found, like, the ancient remains of this ancient Egyptian pharaoh, he also found a material called nymph metal, was originally how it was called.
Nymph, and then it became
nth metal, yeah.
But it was originally nymph.
That's right. It was originally nymph metal.
NTH, I believe.
Now it's NTH. It used to be NINTH.
Oh, NI. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It used to have a vowel.
They just cut it.
Yeah.
Hi, Bowser. This is Hawkman's pet dog.
Actually, Hawkman used to have a pet in his original version. He used to have a pet hawk named Big Red.
Oh, see, I did not know that. Look at that. There's a little fact.
But yeah, so Hawkman is a human, a reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, but a human. And he found this metal called nymph metal that apparently had the ability to negate gravity. So he used this nymph metal to create a harness with wings to allow him to fly.
I always wondered what the hell was keeping him up.
Yeah, it's the nymph metal.
Because there's been different variations of Hawkman. Somewhere his wings come from him.
Yep.
Somewhere it's literally they're just wearing wings.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
So the original variation was just, hey, now I'm wearing it.
That's right. And he would use various ancient weapons from like museums and whatnot as his weapons to fight crime.
Okay. Especially the Morning Star. I know that was one of his particular favorites.
Yeah, Morning Stars, nets, maces, crossbows, lassos.
He mixed it up then.
Okay. Yeah, a variety of weapons. He's well versed in a wide variety of weapons. He's one of DC's most feared fighters.
Really?
Yes. And I will explain that. I'll explain why in a bit.
I'm sure there's a good reason.
Yeah. So, just like how Carter Hall was a reincarnation...
Lie down.
Just like how Carter Hall was a reincarnation of a ancient Egyptian pharaoh, there's been many reincarnations of who Hawkman is. So Carter Hall was the first incarnation of Hawkman, started in 1940. He was... Oh, there he is. I knew I wrote down his name. Khufu was the name of the...
Khufu, I remember that.
Yeah. So Hawkman actually became a charter member of the Justice Society of America.
The JLA.
The JSA.
JSA.
Yes. So that was the original Justice League. They were the Justice Society of America. That was
the 40s.
That's in the 40s. Yes. So that had Superman and Batman, but it had
Jay
Garrick, Flash. It had I'm blanking on his name, Green Lantern, but he was there.
Oh, okay.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl were there.
Was Dr. Fate in this group?
I think Dr. Fate was part of that. Okay. Stargirl.
Yep.
And Black Canary.
Oh yeah, she is that old, huh?
Yeah. So, and then eventually he became the chairman of the JSA.
He was the head of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so first it was the Flash and Green Lantern, and then the chair went to Hawkman, and then Hawkman became maintained as the chairman of the JSA up until the ending of the printing of JSA.
Oh, okay, so he stayed the head for a long, long time.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's the only member in the JSA to appear in every issue in its publication up until when it was canceled.
Okay, so he's got a lot of fandom at this point.
Well, he's got importance. He's got importance to the history of DC.
Well, okay, we haven't really touched base on it, but he's a character that kind of can't die. Well, he can, but he always comes back.
That's right, but they don't actually touch, like, this version of Hawkman. That wasn't part of
base on this.
No. So that's why I haven't talked about that yet.
So he goes through the entire JSA storyline without dying once.
That's right.
And then they kill him 1,000,000 times in every other one.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and Hawk Girl in this is also a reincarnation of this Pharaoh's wife.
Khufu's wife,
yeah. Shiera Sanders is her human name, or her modern name.
Shiar or something was maybe the Egyptian.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. They always have, for some reason, similar names to their reincarnated names.
Yeah, it's easier to remember them by, right?
It's easier for the writers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so his last appearance, Hawkman's last appearance was in All-Star Comics number 57 in 1951. So he went from 1940 to 1951.
That's the length of the JSA span?
That's right.
Okay, and then went where?
He just disappeared from publication. That was the period where the golden age of comics finished, and the popularity of hero comics vanished, and then they went more into the horror and sci-fi. And until the 1950s rolled around, and then the Flash brought in the silver age of comics.
Okay, so when did we see Hawkman?
So Hawkman came back.
Got my Discord open.
Hawkman came back in Brave and the Bold issue number 31 in 1961, but this time as Carter Hall.
Not as Hawkman.
Well, not as Carter Hall.
Oh, as
Qatar Hall. That's right. Katarhol
versus Carterhall.
That's right.
Okay.
So in 1961 they brought back Hawkman, but this time, let me go to those notes. This is going to be a very complicated one, so bear with me on this one. This entire episode is going to be complicated, so try and keep up.
And I think it has to do with the fact that he dies and comes back and dies.
No, not even that. Not even that.
That's not even why.
No, that's not even why. It's the fact that the writers couldn't make up their mind on what kind of character Hawkman is going to be.
Is he good? Is he bad? Is he a
vigilante? No, not even that. It's just who is Hawkman? It's just they can't even make up their minds on that. We'll get to that.
All right, I'm excited.
So Qatar is an alien from the planet Thanagar.
A warrior.
That's right. Well, a policeman. He's actually a policeman.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah. So he came to Earth with his wife Shiera in pursuit of a criminal named Bith, who was a shapeshifter.
Did you ever see Bith?
Yeah, they. Like, I don't know how Beth looks like.
Shapeshifter, who does?
Well, yeah. But yeah, so they came to Earth looking for a criminal named Beth. While they were on Earth, they took on the names of Carter and Shiera Hall and became curators of a museum as a cover. And then eventually they caught Beth, and then sent him back to Thanagar for his crimes. But they decided to stay on Earth to study Earth's customs and how the policemen conducted crime fighting on Earth.
Ah, they liked our style. They wanted to kind of.
Well, it was different than what they were used to.
So Thanagar, it's just what, the bird people?
Yes, from what I could tell, they're not even bird people.
Really?
No, yeah, they use harnesses as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they use nth metal to make their harnesses to give them power of flight.
So is that where nth metal comes from, Thanagar?
Yes, nth metal comes from Thanagar.
Cool.
That wasn't established in the 1940s version.
Reestablished later in the timeline.
That's right. Not even at this point here did they ever mention the origin of nth metal. It's not until like years later that they actually established that nth metal is actually from Thanagar.
Okay, so do they even touch base on the fact that this is how he flies? That
No.
he has this harness? It's just he flies.
Yes.
Wow, that would have been really annoying for years and years of comic book reading. It's like, how? Why? Who?
Yeah.
What? The fuck?
Well, I'm pretty sure they explained that their ability to fly comes from the nth metal, but they've never explained how. Like, why is it that a metal gives them the ability to? Why is it that a metal has the ability to negate gravity?
And then flap wings.
Yeah. Well, the flap wings, they don't need to flap the wings. The wings allows them to control their trajectory, but the flapping of the wings is mostly just shoulder muscles.
Really?
Yeah.
They're just shrugging.
Yeah.
Just shrug it off.
Yeah.
That's what. See, what? More questions. I need more answers.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did not read Hawkman.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why his sales never did well.
Sounds like it. It's just like, here's all this cool shit, but it's unexplained. Like, he wears a helmet, does he not, typically?
Yes.
Is it not like a special helmet?
No.
It's just like a metal eagle helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't need explanation.
Yeah.
There's nothing really magical or special about his weapons.
No, except it's made out of nth metal, that has extra worldly properties.
Okay.
So, from what I've read, nth metal has a variety of properties. It has the ability to cancel out magic.
So magic just won't work on that metal, or like?
I think so. And like it has the ability to like break magical bonds and break magical shields, and
that's very cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Because magic is kind of like that trump card. It's like but magic. It's like fuck your magic.
Yeah. So it makes Hawkman and Hot Woman, or Hot Girl, or Hot Woman, because she ended up going from Hot Girl to Hot Woman.
Sounds like you're saying Hot Girl and Hot Woman. I'm like, who? Who's hot? Hawk. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Let's see here.
You want to sit down, bud?
So Hawkman became a member of Justice League of America by issue number 31. And...
Here, lay down.
So since this Hawkman was a policeman, he's very right-wing conservative.
Yeah.
And because of that, while he was in the Justice League of America, he clashed a lot with very left-wing liberal Green Lantern.
I was just going to say Green Arrow.
Yeah, they clashed a lot.
Yeah, because he's like, bro, can't you just do it the right way? And he's like, no, I'm just going to get it done.
What do you want? What do you want?
My dog's being real annoying today.
He really missed me, apparently.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week.
Yeah. Alright, thanks, Bowser. I'll let you know when intermission is. Alright, see ya. Bye. This is your... Go away.
So during the 60s...
Lay down.
During the 60s, we've talked about this when we covered The Flash and also Black Canary, how in the 60s, that's when they started establishing the multiple Earths. Earth 1 and Earth 2. So it was established that the Carter Hall, the human version of Hawkman,
Earth 1, JSA, Earth 1?
Was Earth 2.
Oh, that's all Earth 2?
Yes. And Earth 1 is the JLA, so the alien Qatar Hall is Earth 1. Alright? So, they did do some more explanation on his backstory. So, he's actually the Imperial Prince of Thanagar.
Like Hawkman, Qatar Hall.
Yes, Qatar Hall.
Okay, I was going to say he's not a pharaoh anymore. I was like, no. Okay.
The alien, yeah.
Okay, so the alien is the Prince of Thanagar.
That's right. But I don't know why he's the prince, because his father is not a king or anything, right? His father was Paran Qatar. He was a renowned ornithologist and an inventor.
Married in, perhaps? Or illegitimate father?
Maybe. But there's actually more backstory given on this later on.
So we find out later. Okay.
Well, not necessarily about him being a prince, it's just more backstory given later on. But yeah, so okay, so in this version of Hawkman of Qatar, Thanagar was being invaded by an alien race called the Manhawks.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And so those are the bird people.
That's right. That's right.
Manhawks, Hawkman.
Yeah.
Get more original, guys. Come on. Eagle people. I don't know.
You're talking about comics here, where they have a guy named Jack Russell who is Werewolf by Night.
Real original.
Yes. But anyways, so during this invasion by the Manhawks, Paran sent Qatar to infiltrate the Manhawks to gather information from them to help them defeat Manhawks. So when Qatar came back with that information, Paran used that information to build the battle suit that with the wings and the Int metal to give them flight. And with that, Qatar helped fight back the invasion, fought back the Manhawks.
So before that, they were just nailing people that didn't need the Nth metal,
That's right.
Didn't need the wings,
That's right.
Until they were invaded.
That's right.
And so they took on the abilities of their invaders.
That's right. Very reminiscent to the Kree.
Yes. Very similar.
Yeah. Because similar to the Kree, after they've gotten this jump in technology and they became conquerors.
Yeah, because what were they doing before that?
They were just a peaceful planet that didn't really fuck with anybody, really.
And then they learned how to get superpowers, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much. So once they defeated the Manhawks, or at least fought them off, crime was rampant on Thanagar. So what they decided to do was create a new police force using this new power suit, and so the police force was all armed with this power suit that gave them flight. And Qatar was the first recruit to this police force and became the most skilled of the police force.
Thus, Hawkman.
That's right.
Manhawk. Thus, Hawkman.
That's right.
Okay.
So then that's where we go to where he's chasing after that alien.
Biff, and now he has the reason to come to Earth. He's been doing the service for a while.
That's
right. It's like, all right, we gotta send you. And then once he captures Biff, he says, well, I'm gonna hang out here and learn the customs.
That's right.
Okay, so that wraps up Qatar's whole backstory, essentially.
Right. Well, a little bit. So it was while he was in the police forces where he met Shayera.
Right.
So
Hawkgirl.
So Shayera is Hawkgirl, and she was a young recruit into this police force.
Okay.
And he ended up getting pairing with her, and she ends up saving his life. And after saving his life, they end up falling in love, getting married, and that's why the two of them went to Earth to go after the.
Well, if you're going, I'm going. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So that was the story of Qatar Hall from the Silver Age of comics.
Okay. So we've done Golden, done Silver.
Yes.
Brings us into the Bronze.
Yes. The second version of Qatar Hall.
Okay, so they went Qatar Hall 2.0 revamp. They rebirthed
Pretty
them?
much, yeah. So
was this after Flashpoint, or what was the cause of this?
This is Crisis. Post-Crisis.
Post-Crisis,
yes.
So post-Flash's Infinite Crisis. Or just Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Crisis on Infinite Earth, yeah, from 1985.
And this is the one that we're watching in
the
Arrowverse about to take over. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just so everyone's summed up, we know what page we're on.
Yes. So 1985, Crisis on Infinite Earth happens. After Crisis on Infinite Earth happened, there was a lot of reboots and revamps because after Crisis on Infinite Earth, all these multiverses got fused, and now there's only one Earth.
And is it Earth 2 or Earth 1 that's left? 1. Okay, so essentially Qatar Hall's Earth is left, but now the story and timeline's all reset with all these other Earths meshed into his, so thus his story gets a rewrite.
That's right.
Okay, brings us to Bronze Age of comics.
Yes. So when after the Crisis happened, they continued with the original Silver Age story of Qatar for a little while.
Okay.
But then they're trying to make sense on how is it that Hawkman is an alien from another race, and then there's Carter Hall, who's a reincarnated Egyptian, and
they made the mistake of allowing two Hawkmans to survive the merger.
That's right.
That was a big mistake. They should have just killed one and be like, now there's one.
Yeah, Carter Hall never existed, kind of thing. But they didn't. So
Idiots.
They had to rewrite it all. So now, what happens is Carter Hall was part of the original JSA back in the 1940, and then decades later there was a JLA that got formed, and that's where Qatar Hall came from.
Okay.
Drawings. So revised. So just one second. Let me get caught up on my notes here.
That's okay.
First remained before crisis. So revised timeline in JSA existed in 1940, and then in JLA decades later. And then there was a story called Hawk World, and in Hawk World, that's where everything got revamped.
Okay. What do some of the big changes kind of mean for the story?
A lot.
All right.
There's a lot. So still an alien from Thanagar.
Okay.
So now Thanagar is straight up a planet that conquers other worlds for their resources.
Okay, so he's no longer, protect and serve, just doing the good. It's let's go see who's out there and take their shit.
That's right.
It's more nomadic Viking search and destroy.
That's right. But Qatar didn't agree with.
So he's Black Sheep.
Exactly. So he
Rather
rebelled.
than Golden Boy, he went from Golden Boy to Black Sheep.
That's right. So he rebelled against his planet. Didn't think that it was right what they did. So he rebelled and decided to get into researching history and archaeology. And in there, he ends up becoming a fan of the legendary hero named Kalmoran. So he started analyzing this hero named Kalmoran.
And who is this guy supposed to be? Did you ever
find
that in your research?
No, I didn't look too far into
Just
Kalmoran.
someone from his Thanagar homeworld, though.
That's right, like a Hercules kind of thing,
like a local folklore hero or
exactly.
something. Okay, cool.
Exactly. So I decided to throw that in there because if there's ever like a Hawkman movie, there might be like a Kalmoran Easter egg somewhere.
Okay, so we gotta keep our eyes open for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I always liked Hawkman. He was a cool character. He seemed like bestial and just different.
Yeah, well, he's a warrior.
Yeah,
he's a straight up warrior.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was supposed to be down.
He has that Wolverine sense to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a hard
here.
persona to fit into a character. That deadly ruthlessness.
So, because of his rebellion, he started getting into drugs. He got addicted to a recreational drug.
Oh, which one?
They didn't say the name of the recreational drug.
Mary Jane.
Sure. But this is Thanagar recreational drug.
Meshy Jew. Gerano. Space junk shit.
Yeah.
Smoking his space rocks.
So while he was all hooked up on whatever drug he was on, he got manipulated by a corrupt police captain named Biff. Once again, they bring in Biff, his arch enemy.
Yep.
So this time, Biff is a police captain, and he's corrupt, and he manipulates Qatar into killing his own dad. So, for this crime, Qatar ends up getting banished to an island.
Okay.
Alright, so now he's on this island. He ends up being...
Still on Thanatar?
Yeah, still on Thanagar.
Thanagar?
Yeah.
Thanagar.
Yeah. I had the hardest time getting the two separated. Thanagar and Themyscira.
Oh. Too many
Yeah.
Too many ths.
Yeah. So still on Thanagar. Still not on Earth yet.
Okay.
So he got exiled to this island, and on this island he met this robed figure who was working on some wings, a flight suit kind of thing.
Okay.
So Qatar was still, now he's on this island. He didn't have access to this drug, so now he's going through withdrawals, and he's disillusioned by everything, and he wants off this island. So he ends up killing that road guy for his wings. But turns out that road guy was actually building those wings for Qatar.
Oh my god.
When he actually killed the road guy, he found out that the road guy had natural wings. He didn't have to. He wasn't building wings for himself. He already had wings. He was building them for Qatar. So this destroyed him. Like, he can't believe what he did. So this rogue guy had a brother on this island, and this brother helped Qatar with his drug addiction to get over his withdrawals, and also to
reconcile for killing his brother.
Yeah.
Oh, why would he? Does it say why he helps him after killing his brother?
I'm not too sure.
Took pity on him, or just...
Yeah, you must have seen like how he was suffering and how he the remorse he had in him, and he was actually a good person, he was a good man.
That's pretty intense. One second here. You're being a shit today.
Time for the underdog.
What's that?
Is it time for Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby intermission. Should throw out the Kirby memes. Oh, the Bowser meme.
Here we go.
Kirby.
There's Kirby. There's stupid. All right.
Where are we now? One moment. Time to get the muzzle.
Yes. Well, you might be quiet.
Easy, needy little boy.
Much better.
Alright, so
Where were we?
so after he did his time on this island,
Yep.
He eventually came back to society, and holy shit, when he came back to society, he went after Biff, who now that he's come back to normal society, Biff has now become a shapeshifter.
Oh, okay.
So Qatar comes back and he goes after and captures Biff and turns him in for what he did, for manipulating him into killing his own dad. So this act allowed Qatar to rejoin the police force.
Even though they were, world conquerors, he still wanted to join the police force?
Yeah, I don't know where that change happened, but yeah, he became a member of the police force.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he went from abandoning them to getting outcast by them to rejoining them. Yeah. Okay. The story's starting to get convoluted.
Yeah.
all right. I can see the progression here.
So he gets partnered by Shira Thal.
Yep.
And then they get sent to Earth as ambassadors.
Ambassadors.
Yes, ambassadors. Because let me go back here. So retcons. So all this backstory got explained years later. So what I'm explaining to you is explain this version of Qatar's origin, but all this got explained later.
It was just, hey, he's on Earth as ambassador, blah, blah, blah.
That's right. So some of the retcons that they've done, let me backtrack here for a second.
Okay.
So, because of the new origin showing Hawkman, with the new origin of Hawkman ends up going to Earth as an ambassador for Thanagar.
Yep.
So I'm actually on track. I don't have to go back.
Okay, good.
All right. So
rather than go conquer Earth, they send him first. Hey, we're coming if you don't give us the planet.
That's right. Well, sort of. No.
Kind of.
So they already knew about Thanagar, I believe. So he was there as like a diplomat.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't just send him to conquer.
That's right.
Excellent. Okay. We'll give him a chance.
Yes.
If they've heard of Thanagar, Thanagar's probably heard of Earth.
Yes.
Probably heard that. Yeah, they got some people there.
Yes. Yeah. They've got a Superman.
Yeah, we maybe shouldn't go conquer them.
Well.
Okay, let's find out.
Yeah. So what's happening here, though? This is the all post crisis.
Yep.
Still. So this brought into question. Wait a second. If Hawkman just landed on Earth now, but Hawkman was part of the JLA back in the 1960s. How does that make sense? So they wrote themselves into a continuity error.
Yeah.
So remember, like I said, after the crisis, they established that Carter Hall was part of the JSA back in the 1940s. Then decades later, the JLA formed, and Hawkman was a member of that when he was the alien from another planet who ended up joining the JLA back in the 1960s.
Yeah.
So now, in the 80s, Hawkman is just landing on Earth again. So, what? So this is where they introduce another Hawkman.
Falandar?
Yes, this is where they introduced Falandar. So they ended up having to retcon it, and Falandar was the Hawkman that joined the JLA back in the 1960s.
In the okay.
Yeah. All right.
So they essentially wrote the 60s era of comics with Qatar Hall.
That's right.
They then had Infinite Crisis happen.
Yes.
And their variation of the timeline change
Yes.
was that Qatar Hall never existed. It was Falandar all along.
Yes.
And Qatar Hall is now in the 80s.
That's right.
That was, well, they kind of made it work.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll give it to them.
Yeah. And then, so it turns out that Falandar was actually on Earth to spy on Earth, to get intelligence on Earth, so that Thanagar could eventually invade Earth.
I see.
So eventually, Falandar ends up leaving Earth with whatever information that he had on it and going back to Thanagar. After he went back to Thanagar, that was when Qatar and Shayura got sent to Earth as ambassadors.
I see. So it was originally, yes, we're going to come conquer. They sent Falandar. Falandar's like, no, we shouldn't do this. We should not do this, guys. Let's send 2 more people to make friends.
Yeah. And
then they sent Qatar.
Yeah. So this version of Qatar and Shayura, they actually didn't get along. They weren't a married couple.
Okay.
And they ended up splitting their own. They ended up going their own ways, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the punchline of when they start being bonded to each other.
Oh, that's afterwards. That's during 0 Hour miniseries. So that's after this Qatar.
Okay.
So we'll get to that. Actually, I'm coming up to that. So Qatar, second incarnation Qatar. No, I'm past that. I'm on the third incarnation, second version of Qatar.
So many variations of Hawkman. So many timeline resets. So many retcons.
Yeah. Well, my notes are it's something to like. I thought I had this all sorted out in a logical way, but no, I'm gonna have to jump back and forth on certain notes.
That's okay. We tend to kind of, go a little left, go a little right.
Yeah.
We wind up telling you all about different information, and we cover the character well.
So once Qatar was on his own as Hawkman, and so him and Shira, Hawkgirl, are no longer an item. They were never an item. Yeah. But they're no longer partners. Yeah. Qatar Hall went on his own. He's just Hawkman now. And while he's on his own, he ended up meeting Carter Hall, the Hawkman from the JSA.
Is he old at this point?
Yes.
Okay. At least they aged a character.
Yes.
Bowser's upstairs just rawr. I want to be down there on TV.
So yeah, he ends up meeting Carter Hall and Sierra Sanders, who turns out they had met Qatar's dad back in World War II. So Qatar's dad had been to Earth before he was killed by Qatar and all that. So he had come to Earth and he had met Carter and Sierra and was their inspiration to become Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Really?
Yes.
So when he came to Earth, he was wearing the...
Well, he was under a human guise. He was under a human guise, but they found out who he was, that he was an alien. And I guess his honor or whatever, like his valor, inspired them to become the Hawkman and Hawkgirl of Earth.
Oh, he didn't have their warrior armor suit at that time, you think?
No, I think he did.
That's probably what... Okay, so that's probably the inspiration that they got.
Yeah, but like he didn't openly wear it.
Right.
But he must have had it with them.
Yeah.
With him.
Do you think that's where Carter originally got his armor?
Yes. Well,
from the father?
This version of Carter, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Be Hawkman.
Yeah. So,
Which makes me wonder, how would his father then get back to his planet without flying?
Well, I mean, probably didn't fly because they still can't breathe in space, so he must have had a spaceship.
Point. You don't know what kind of aliens they are.
Yeah. But yeah, so they ended up having a few adventures together, and there was one story where Qatar ends up getting injured, and Carter ends up taking Qatar to see this. Took him to see this shaman, this female shaman. Her name was Naomi.
Okay.
And it turns out that Naomi knew his dad as well.
Oh,
they were actually lovers and became betrothed. And turns out she's his biological mother. Qatar is actually half human, half Thanagar. How he came to living his life on Thanagar, I don't know.
Right.
She gave birth, so she must have given birth
to where? On Earth or Thanagar?
Well, on Earth. So that must mean that Paran went back to Thanagar with Qatar, leaving Naomi on Earth for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, makes sense though, because if he has a kid, he no longer needs his armor, so he gives armor to Carter. You become Hawkman. You defend Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my planet with my kid.
Yeah, but why not bring Naomi? Well, I guess she wouldn't be.
She's an alien. She would not be accepted.
No, she wouldn't have been accepted.
Because she would be the alien. Where he's the alien on Earth, she's the alien on Thanagar.
Yeah. But Qatar is an alien on both. He's a hybrid of the two.
Qatar is now, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if on Thanagar they ever knew he was part human.
But no. No, he never knew.
It's an alien species that is so alike human.
Yeah.
That there's no differences to tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
they made shit confusing a little bit.
Huh? Yeah. So because of all this, due to like the large continuity errors that all of this was causing, DC decided to stop all production, all writing of Hawkman, and Hawkgirl disappeared from, I think just Hawkman, or maybe Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But anyways, this episode of all Hawkmans will stick with Hawkman. I didn't do any research on Hawkgirl, but Hawkman ended up disappearing from production for several years.
Okay. And when did they finally release him?
So, he came back in the late 1980s.
Oof. So
1990s, I mean.
Late so he was benched for like 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was what I was talking about when it got so bad they even said, Grant Morrison, no, too bad. Because he at one point went to them and said, I want to write Hawkman.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Just no.
So, you'd think when they brought him back in the late 90s, they would sort him out a lot better. No, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. When I started reading this, I'm like, oh my good God, I almost cried. Okay, so let's do this. So, they brought back the JSA as its own series. So JSA has its own comic book series.
And this is late 1990s.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So in the late 1990s, in the JSA series, they established Hawkman as Carter Hall again.
The original Carter Hall.
Yes.
Back in his prime youth?
Yes. Yeah, so he's once again Carter Hall. He's a reincarnation of the Egyptian pharaoh.
Okay.
And I think this is where they start establishing that he's been reincarnated several times throughout the centuries.
Okay. So it's their way of saying, yes, we've done this before.
Yeah. Yeah, so along with Shiera, they have been reincarnated dozens of times since ancient Egypt.
Yeah, so now they're saying they're always on Earth.
Yes.
They're both human.
Yes.
With like a magical curse upon them.
Yes.
Where's that from? Why is that?
I didn't look too much. What I did do, and I didn't look too much into that because, like I said, I had to do so much research on finding out all the different retcons and new origins and different stories of like who Hawkman is and whatnot. I didn't put a lot of time into researching what was the source of the curse.
Do you think it was the DC Legends of Tomorrow? It was like the
it has something to do with the
Savage.
Savage. Yes. Well, Savage has nothing to do with it, but the dagger does.
Okay.
If anything,
so there's a curse though from an ancient Egyptian dagger.
If anything, the Smallville version of Hawkman was more accurate.
Don't remember it at all.
He was only there for like 2 episodes, and then the last episode of season 9.
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. But then I saw a clip of him as in Smallville. I'm like, oh yeah, he was terrible.
That was bad.
It was a bad actor. It was just bad. The costume looked terrible.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah. It's not because I saw him talking to Green Arrow, but I'm like, that's not Jason.
Oh, and he's all rough and like.
Well, he's very young and skinny looking with the blonde hair and short blonde hair, and like that's Smallville Green Arrow.
Oh, that guy Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Oh, I mean Hawkman. Yeah, he was all gruff and.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Hawkman was all gruff. He was pretty thick, but he's very gruff looking. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I remember it vaguely. Now.
Yeah.
Try to block it out, you know.
Yeah, like I said, he wasn't that good. He was pretty bad, actually.
Well,
but yeah, so it had something to do with the dagger and some ancient Egyptian wizard, not Savage.
Some old mage that cursed them to fall in love or to find each other in each lifetime, just to lose the other one in each other's arms, essentially.
That's right. To find your love and then to die witnessing your love's death over and over and over.
Yeah, because they will die like right in front of the other one, essentially in their arms.
Pretty much.
Right? Like every time. Like they're doing battle together or something happens or they're assassinated or...
Yeah. So you can see their story as either a story of... you can see it as like a...
Despair or love.
Exactly. It's a story of love. Like their love spans generations.
Yeah.
Yes, it always ends in tragedy, but their love is so strong that they always find each other again.
Well, their love is so strong that it brings them back from the dead to find each other again.
Yeah.
Because in every lifetime, they find each other one way or another. Yeah. And it might take years, it might take months, it might take days. Sometimes they've been living for 20 years, 30 years, and on opposite sides of the world, when one day they come across each other and they just know. Yeah. I know you. Why do I know you? How do I know? And then the memories come back. Yeah. Once they meet the other one, I believe all the memories come back.
Yes. And they start remembering like their past lives.
Past lives, yes.
And I'm pretty sure this is the incarnation where they finally established that that nth metal is from
Thanagar.
Yes.
Okay, so it's finally now they said, oh, all this time, this is what's been happening.
And I think this is where they changed it from ninth metal to nth metal.
Smart.
Yeah, just get rid of that useless eye.
Yeah, well, they have nth metal in like Supergirl. Like that was the one little factory that the one mass dude was running out of. Remember? Because across the street, his nth metal factory got put out of business. Yeah.
And what was that again?
Supergirl.
Oh yeah, it was Supergirl. Yeah.
Supergirl.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember like nth metal.
Nth metal.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm like, what could be going on here?
Yeah. So,
that brings us up to the current 1990s JLA.
That's right.
Sorry, JSA.
That's right. So JSA established all of that. So this Carter Hall and Shiera are reincarnations and reincarnated a bunch of times, dozens of times. But then Carter Hall is also just landing on Earth in the 1990s. Qatar Hall, I mean, landing on Earth. Okay, so now they have both. That's right.
And are they both wearing wings? Are they both wearing helmets?
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's like a clone.
Yeah.
Oh. And then are they fighting over the girl?
And Fel-Andar was the one who ended up going back to Thanagar in the 1980s.
Yes. Oh, in the 1980s now. Yes. They changed it. They changed it again.
Yeah.
Felandar's just the fucking stunt double of the Hawkman universe. Alright, fucking, no, that guy will send this guy, he's the spy. What a scapegoat.
Yeah. And this is when Carter Hall and Qatar Hall ended up getting merged into one and becoming the Hawk God.
Whoa, that happened?
Yes.
Okay, but before that happened, did they throw down fighting over Shiara?
No, because there's two different Shiaras.
What?
Yeah, there's Shiera, which is the Thanagarian.
And she came to Earth with Qatar.
That's right.
As an ambassador at this point, or police officer at this point, we don't know.
Yeah, they don't. I'm not 100%
They don't
sure
establish what they are.
on that. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that.
We're here.
Yeah. I think this is still. I think they kept the idea of the second version of Qatar that I was talking about, where him and Shiera split and he's by himself. So the Hawkman is by himself.
Oh,
so Hawkman and Carter ends up merging and becoming the Hawk God.
Who's the Hawk God?
I didn't read too much on it, but Hawk God pretty much is like this. Like this, I think this is the one that that he would die and just get reincarnated over and over again, kind of like Dead Man. And just like that's pretty much like that was his big power. It's just the fact that he can't really die. He just always comes back over and over again.
As Hawk God?
Yes.
Or as Hawkman?
As Hawk God.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't read too much on this. This was a period in the comics where I kind of stopped reading comics. Okay, and when I was doing my research, from everything that I've read, they didn't go in great details on Hawk God, except for the fact that Hawk God ended up going crazy because he was a hero. He was fighting the criminals and whatnot, but eventually the voices of Carter Hall and Qatar Hall ended up fighting with each other inside his mind, and he ended up going insane. And then he ended up Martian Manhunter and somebody else ended up having to team up and then banish him to some other dimension.
I'm trying to think, who else could dimension swap?
It's nobody that I ever heard of.
Oh, okay, so they had to create a character
No,
solve the problem of this character.
Well, no, it's probably somebody who's established, not just like a freshly created character.
Oh.
A more obscure character than Martian Manhunter. So Martian Manhunter is the more well-known of the two.
I figured it was like Zatara or something.
No, nothing like that. That I would have remembered.
Yeah. Okay, so with our current continuation before Hawk God,
yes,
or what happens after Hawk God, where do we go from here?
After Hawk God, we go into. I kind of skipped over DC, not Rebirth, but New 52. So New 52. So New 52, they reestablished because in New 52, that was New 52 is after Flashpoint.
And Flashpoint's after Infinite Crisis?
No.
So it goes Flashpoint.
Wait, yes?
Yes. No.
Anyways.
No, Flashpoint's where he creates the other universe.
That's right.
And that's before Infinite Crisis, because
right.
there's other universes before we shrink back
That's
down
right.
to one.
That's right.
Okay, so Flashpoint, then New 52.
So New 52 happens.
I thought New 52 is after Infinite.
No, that's Rebirth. DC Rebirth.
Okay.
Yeah, I always get those two confused.
Okay.
So New 52 happens, and in New 52 there was a lot of rewrites and retcons and whatnot, once again, because DC is famous for. So in New 52, they reset everything, and Hawkman. I didn't read too much into this, but Hawkman is now, once again, Qatar.
Okay.
Alright, so he went with the alien, and pretty much stuck with the original story, not the original story of Qatar, but the second story of Qatar, where he killed his dad and blah blah blah. They stuck with that story. Yeah, they stuck with that story.
It's a weird story to stick with.
Yeah, well, I kind of like it, and it gives a little bit of tragedy to his character rather than just a straight-laced cop that came to Earth and wanted to study our.
You got to make him have a bit of a dark side.
Yeah,
you know, he's got drug addiction, some problems. And make him real.
Yeah, exactly.
Make him real.
Exactly. So, and I think in this is where they established that Hawk God was never actually a Hawk God. He was the avatar of the Hawk. He was the avatar Hawk from the Red. We haven't touched on this yet, but there are different elements in DC. There's the green,
the white, the red.
Yeah.
Are
So
those the three?
I think there might be more than that, but definitely those three. So the green is what gives Swamp Thing his ability to control plants.
Yeah.
The red is the one that gives Animal Man the ability to incorporate powers of various animals, like he get the strength of an elephant, the pouncing power of a leopard, of a cougar, the speed of a leopard, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So Hawk God was just an avatar of the Hawk aspect of the Red.
Okay, as if it was there like an alpha aspect of each animal.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So let me. So
Makes sense.
yeah. So, but
He has a horrible costume.
What's that?
Hawk God has a horrible costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's all blue and like spiky and
Yeah.
shitty.
Yeah. It's very classic early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I think the one that they did the best of is the DC Rebirth. This is why I didn't put a lot of focus in New 52 because it's just more convoluted bullshit on Hawkman, and I just wanted to see what is the current continuity of Hawkman, and that will be DC Rebirth Hawkman.
And that's what they did in what year? Early 2000s?
Late 2010s. Like in
okay.
yeah.
So within the past 10 years.
Yeah, in the past 10 years.
Last 5 years even, maybe.
Exactly. So if they ever make like a new Hawkman movie,
It'll be based off Rebirth.
It'll based off Rebirth, exactly.
It's probably good.
Yeah. So and I like what they did with this one. So to make sense of all this fucking bullshit, so they went back to Carter Hall as Hawkman. So the human.
Okay.
The reincarnation of the Egyptian pharaoh.
Khufu.
Yes, that's been reincarnated many, many times, but this time, rather than just being reincarnated over centuries on Earth, he's been reincarnated over various races on various planets in various Earths. So Qatar Hall is one of his reincarnations, and he's been reincarnated as different identities throughout different planets, and even one identity he was from Earth 3. But it's all from the same guy. So Carter Hall from DC Rebirth, when he starts remembering his past lives, he remembers being Qatar Hall. He remembers being that different personality from Earth 3. He remembers being the Pharaoh from
So
ancient
he has
Egypt.
a lot of memory banks of information
That's
and
right.
skills to tap and remember.
That's right. So when
You made him very versatile.
That's right. So when you go down to his abilities, so this Qatar Hall has like the training of centuries of combat through various nations and planets and races. He has knowledge of various weapons from all these different civilizations and periods in time, mostly ancient, but he even has knowledge on futuristic weapons from like his time as a Thanagarian on Thanagar.
They're a futuristic race.
That's right. They have advanced technology, like they have laser guns and whatnot. So he knows how to use this stuff. He knows how to use assault rifles, and he knows how to use all these different weapons.
That's pretty talented.
Yeah. So that's why, at the beginning of this episode, I said that Hawkman is one of the most feared fighters in DC. That's why. It's all, if you combine all those different lives that he has lived.
He has the most experience out of anyone.
That's right. That's right.
Like Vandal Savage would rival him.
Yes. Yes, but Vandal Savage isn't reincarnated. Vandal Savage is immortal.
Yeah, and he's lived all those different lives with all the different races and all the different people, and
that's right. So that actually gives this version of Carter Hall an advantage because Vandal Savage is just Vandal Savage. Yes, he's immortal. Yes, he has lived as different figures throughout Earth's history. He was the Genghis Khan and blah blah blah. And he was an advisor to Napoleon, and he was all these different conquerors or advisors to conquerors. And he's got these centuries of experience. But Carter Hall has centuries of experience on various planets and different Earths. His perspectives is
I was
gigantic.
gonna say perspective alone is what's gonna do it, because he's had to live life through multiple points of view.
Yeah.
Not just always one. Always knowing I'm alive. Always knowing I'm immortal.
I know he's whining. They've been whining all night.
Dog is whining indeed. He wants to be on the show.
They do. Both of them do.
They do. They like to be on the show, but we don't like them on
We're
the
gonna
show.
go give them some attention in a moment.
We're almost done here, guys. You just
Pretty
gotta
much.
hear the last little bits about Hawkman's current continuum.
Well, that's pretty much it. So this is like late 2010s, like within the last 5 years. We will.
Well, they did. They got their food. They got their pee. They just want attention.
Yes, we're gonna go play with them.
Yeah, and their wooden bone.
Yeah.
Noisy. They can wait 5 minutes.
But yeah, so I don't have much more to give other than talk about his various appearances in media outside of comics. But we kind of talked about that a little bit as well. And he hasn't had that much exposure outside of comics.
I think we've mentioned everything that we have seen him in, aside from all the animated shows.
Yeah, like in Justice League Unlimited. In Justice League Unlimited, there's been 2 different versions of Hawkman. One of them was the Thanagarian Qatar Hall, but he wasn't named Qatar Hall. He was named Ratak something. So it's his name, Qatar Hall, but his names were rearranged. His letters were rearranged.
Oh, okay.
And he was never known as Hawkman. He was just one of the Thanagarians who ends up helping Hawkgirl in one of the episodes.
Okay.
But then there was another story where it's Carter Hall, where he ends up falling in love with Shira, and think that him and her were meant to be because they are the reincarnations of Thanagarians that landed in Egypt back in ancient Egypt and
became pharaohs.
That's right. So kind of combining the two into one kind of thing. So both versions of Hawkman ended up making an appearance in Justice League Unlimited. More so Carter Hall than Qatar.
Yeah.
But they've made and Carter Hall has made more appearances. Like it was Carter Hall in Smallville. It was Carter Hall in Flash and Arrow and all that. Because I think it's much easier to do him than doing the Thanagarian.
Well, then you have to explain why he's an alien.
That's right.
And where did he come from? Why is he here? What planet? Too many questions. Rather than, look, a Hawkman from Earth. It's like, why is he a Hawkman? It's the only real question.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like,
how does a metal allow you to negate gravity?
But you don't even know that at first. You don't even know. You're just like, look, a Hawkman. You figure he has wings. So, at what point, what variation of him were the wings like from him? At any point?
No.
They've never?
No. I thought they were too, but
he's
no.
never had real wings.
No, it's always been part of the harness.
What? So you can just take it off.
I think the only time they had natural wings was Hawkgirl from the Justice League series.
Oh.
Because I think those are her wings. I've never seen her without her wings, but it could still be part of a harness. She just never took off her harness.
Better question is, someone with metal manipulation, can they not just be like,
I am probably nth metal is resistant to magnetism.
Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be really easy to beat him. Just take his wings off.
Yeah, nth metal is the most vague metal I've ever researched. Matter of fact, it's even been said in the comics that there are still untapped powers that the nth metal is capable of. Pretty much leaving it open-ended for different writers to make shit up as they go.
Cause nth metal.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, okay, who'd win in a fight, Batman or Hawkman?
Well, the argument that Batman can win any fight with proper prep time, but I mean,
all the prep time in the world can't give you years and centuries of first-hand.
No.
Like, so.
Yeah.
I don't know about that argument.
Yeah.
All the prep time in the world, Batman, and you still can't think as many thoughts as he's had.
That's right. Yeah, you don't have that experience level.
That's what I mean. It's just literal expertise through practical application.
Yeah. Yeah.
Batman's all theory.
Yeah. People would argue Batman, but logically,
I think Hawkman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because Hawkman, like, they're both human.
Yes.
They don't have super strength, super speed, nothing.
Apparently, Hawkman does have increased strength. I think the nth metal does give him increased strength. He is stronger than a normal human.
So
but
definitely Hawkman.
But we're not talking like Spider-Man strength. We're talking like
The Rock versus us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Captain America strong.
All right.
Not quite.
Wow.
Well, Captain America was strong enough to hold on to helicopters. That's pretty damn strong.
He's pretty fucking strong. Okay. It's pretty strong. Okay. Obama versus Arnold.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't believe we actually squeezed this in an hour. I didn't think we were able to squeeze it in an hour.
Pretty good. We did good. And
Yeah.
actually, I feel like we made it less confusing than the research was.
Yeah. Yeah.
The research was really fucking confusing.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you understand Hawkman a little better now?
Absolutely. Kind of. A little bit.
Still hard to really follow when you try to think about it, but whatever. Break it down to just the current version of Carter Hall as Hawkman simplifies everything.
And I figure, like, at each point when there's, like, you know, Flashpoint, Rebirth, 52, Infinite Crisis, you have to just chalk it up to, and that never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, screw it.
And this is where we begin now.
Yeah.
And, okay, no, that never happened. This is where we begin now.
Yeah, screw it.
And you have to just let it go. And
Yeah.
if you can't let it go, then comics aren't for you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Who's that there?
I think it's my mom.
I think so too. Well, thank you for tuning in then. Now, next week, who do we got?
I don't know. Who do we got, Kenny?
Who is on the lineup?
Keep talking.
Stuff,
Wait, what were
things, words.
When were we going to do the Crisis?
I think we're waiting on Crisis for all the episodes to come out. Be fully finished.
They are.
People to have like a few weeks to catch up, so there's no spoilers.
They came out like last week.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Yeah. So next week we got Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Black Panther.
And then we'll do Crisis after.
All
All
right.
right, so I got 2 weeks to get caught up on my Crisis episodes.
Yes.
And a fuckload of research.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're going from one metal to another. We're going from nth metal to vibranium.
Yes.
At least vibranium has more defined properties.
Yes, it does. And some cooler stuff done with it, I think. Because, like, Nth Metal has some cool stuff done, but I know Vibranium has some cooler stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Captain America's shield, like, I think Black Panther's claws. There's more. There's more.
Yes, Mom, I can see you. Yeah, no, actually, I watched a video where they this new, not you, but I found this YouTube channel called Because Science, where he breaks down.
Right, you sent me a video there.
Yeah.
For super speed.
Yeah. Well, he does a scientific breakdown of vibranium, and it's pretty freaking cool. So I'm glad I watched that. I will incorporate that in next week's episode of Black Panther.
Excellent. So you heard it. Next week we got Black Panther, flipping back over to the Marvel side of things. Same time as always, 8 p.m. Saturday. Feel free to hit that follow button and subscribe if you wish. If you have, Apple. What's the Amazon Prime? Not Apple. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription. So take advantage of that and throw it up on our Twitch. Other than that, I'm Justin.
I'm Mitch.
Thanks for tuning in to Worlds Collide. This is episode 3 of season 2. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you know Hawkman a little better. I think we do now.
Yeah.
So, thanks. See you
Cheers.
next week.